Mhm, mhm, mhm.
Amber, are we on a separate thing that you merge when we start, or do I just start? Linda, I want to just make sure we cue each other properly.
Right. I think when you're ready, we just start.
Yeah, I see a couple people in here already, about 12 participants. We're just maybe going to wait a couple minutes to see
Okay.
who
Yeah.
else is able to join. And then, yeah, we should be good to get started.
All right. So I just unmute myself and I can start.
Mhm.
Okay.
I'll just start a little music while we're waiting.
Linda, you're muted.
Thank you. So welcome, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and kick things off and get us started today. On behalf of the Board of Directors, I'd like to welcome you to our Spring Executive Women's Forum. My name is Linda Hicks, and I am the President of Women in High Tech. And our Executive Women's Forum Director, Linda Kelvin, has organized a wonderful program for us today, Unleashing the Power of LinkedIn. I'm really looking forward to hearing from Kristen Lampkin on how best to take advantage of LinkedIn. I personally find LinkedIn very intimidating and admit I don't do a lot on LinkedIn except get in there and marvel at how well others seem to leverage it. So I'm hoping to learn something today, and I'm sure we will. But before I turn the program over to Linda to introduce our speaker, I wanted to share what we have on the horizon at Women in High Tech. I hope you've had a chance to catch a glimpse of our scrolling PowerPoint that was playing before we got started, because it highlights the type of excellent program that we have in place. And it also highlighted our exceptional sponsors who, without their support, wouldn't be able to bring you the type of programming and networking opportunities and career development that we do. So before I turn that program over, let me just go through some of the highlights of what we have coming up. So our very popular spring networking event at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway makes a great return May 19th after a 4-year hiatus due to the pandemic. Ticket sales close soon, so please go out and register and get a ticket. Not only can you enjoy a wonderful day at the track and get to see the garages and enjoy the cars and the racing, but it's also a great networking opportunity. You'll hear from keynote speaker Allison Melegton, an executive vice president at the Penske Entertainment. We have added some professional development program this year that really is going to enhance your experience. And once again, just a great opportunity to catch up with friends and to also do some networking. We have a clickside chat plan for May 18th with the topic of psychological safety that you can do that is virtual. This is the year of our biennial Leading Light Awards and Scholarship Gala. That event is going to be held on October 6th, and it's really our biggest celebration of the STEM community. We're looking for great nominations across the spectrum of leaders in our community in STEM, and also young professionals and young students in need of scholarships. We need table sponsors. We want to fill Indiana Roof Ballroom and have a really fun night to celebrate. And we have a host of volunteer opportunities for that. So please go out on our website and take a look at all of the programming that we currently have slated, and take a look at the Leading Light Award nomination packages and scholarship. We also have a call out right now. We have a couple board positions that will be open starting for our next board year in July. And so go and look at that on our website and think whether or not you could fit the bill for a couple of the positions that we currently have advertised. But with that, I don't want to take too much time because I personally want to get to the LinkedIn update. So I'm going to turn everything over to Linda, and she'll introduce our speaker.
Good morning, everyone. And I'm so glad that you are able to attend today. I am excited about this session, of course. LinkedIn is near and dear to my heart. It's my personal CRM, as well as a platform for branding. So I am really excited about the topic and our speaker today. Before we get started, I just wanted to share with you some upcoming executive women's forums. So there is another, so mark it on your calendar right now, because we're doing this virtual. We wanted to have it so you could have your calendar and your LinkedIn profile up. So bring up that calendar. touch that device, right? And mark on your calendar June 14th. On June 14th at 3:30, we're going to, number one, have our annual membership meeting where we announce new board members and we welcome the new president. And as well as we will have our executive women's forum session on mental health. So I know this is a big topic. We've seen a lot of headlines in the news, and especially just recently with, I believe it's with the Miss USA or Miss Universe who committed suicide. And so, you know, it's on people's minds, and we need to talk about this and come out of the dark about mental health. So I have a couple of great speakers lined up. We're going to talk about the impacts of social media. We're going to talk about psychological safety and how to take care of yourself. And this one we're going to do in person. So right now, I haven't announced it yet, but look for the announcement of venue as I iron things out, but it's going to be a really cool venue. You are going to want to make this event. And by the way, you might want to wear green. So that's your hint right there. So with that, and then there's another one coming up in November. So please stay tuned to Women in High Tech website. Follow us on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Twitter, so you can get all of the information. So with that, let's dive into this. So I know some of you may have seen those statistics on the website when you registered, but in case you haven't, LinkedIn is the world's largest professional network with 810 million members in more than 200 countries and territories worldwide. 42.8% of LinkedIn's global users are female. In 2021, LinkedIn saw an increase of 55% in conversations among connections. LinkedIn has 15x more content impressions than job postings and 9 billion, that's it, 9 billion content impressions. You know, LinkedIn posts with images, here's a little fact, get 2 times higher engagement. 49 million people use LinkedIn to search for jobs, and 6 people are hired through LinkedIn every minute. So it is a very important platform. And I will share with you when I first, and some of you may have this experience too, when I first created my LinkedIn profile, it was in the 2000s, early 2000s. And I just created it just because it was the thing you were supposed to do. You were supposed to create a Twitter account. You're supposed to have Facebook and LinkedIn. So I created it. And I think I was among a lot of people who basically said, I created and this was it. But over the last several years, it has evolved into this essential platform for professional development, connection, job search, and personal branding, and business development. So it's a really important platform. And, you know, but there are some things that we should know and learn about using LinkedIn. And I will tell you that this next speaker, when I first asked her to join us for today, she said, Linda, I have a tip for you. And she was spot on. And I will share that later. So let me introduce you to Kristen Lampkin. So Kristen is the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Leader, also known as the HR Guru. She's been working at CAR Global. She's been working in human resources for over 10 years, focusing on talent acquisition, performance management. Oh, that thing we never like to do, performance management, organizational development, employee relations coaching, and of course, diversity and inclusion. She's the CEO of HR Guru, where she helps business owners take their careers to the next level, helping them with LinkedIn profile and resume refresh. Kristen, she is the bomb.com and has been named one of the 10 local women in Indy to watch in 2022 by Indy Maven. In 2021, she was selected as part of the auto remarketing 40 under 40 class. Also in 2018, she was a finalist in the Junior Achievements Indy's Best and Brightest Award, and United Way of Central Indiana recognized her as one of United Way's 100 heroes. She is the HR Indiana Annual Conference by the Indiana State Affiliate of SHRM presented her with the Volunteer of the Year in 2017. So this woman is the real deal. She is awesome. And I am so excited to invite her to speak to us today. So with that, Kristen, I am going to pass the mic to you.
Well, thank you so much, Linda. And thank you, Women in High Tech, for having me today. I am so excited for this conversation. I'm smiling from ear to ear because LinkedIn is something I love to talk about. And so when I get the opportunity to help professionals really see themselves in a lens where they can really navigate it, I get super excited. So Linda shared a little bit about me. I also want to share that I am a wife and a mother to an amazing 3-year-old, and I couldn't do what I do every day as a DEI leader as well as a business entrepreneur without them championing me and supporting me and having boundaries so that I can be able to do the things that I do. So I definitely want to give them a shout out. And I love, Linda, that you brought up that you all are going to be talking about mental health and mental health awareness month being this month. I want to encourage all of you to continue to work on making sure you have time for yourself. One of the things I strive to do daily is take 15 minutes and just do nothing and just breathe. We don't do that enough. And I have found that has definitely helped me in my journey of making sure that I keep myself, just with my mental wellness. So I wanted to share that gem with you all, and hopefully you can take that with you and continue to work on your mental wellness as well. It's really important. So let's talk about what we're going to discuss today. This is not about me. This is about you all. I want to make sure that I am giving you resources to help you take your career and take your professionalism to the next level. So we're going to talk about personal brand because that's really important when before you even start doing things on LinkedIn to think about what is your personal brand. We'll dive into LinkedIn top must-haves, LinkedIn do's and don'ts, like Linda said, networking on LinkedIn, creator feature, and takeaways. And then we'll have Q&A at the end. I really wanted to make sure this was something that doesn't matter where you are in your journey of LinkedIn, that you can have a takeaway, whether you are in the beginning and starting, or if you're in the middle, or if you are what you deem as a Jedi, that is something I want to definitely help you with. So first, getting started, I want to pose a question, and we'll take a poll with that. Do you think you have a personal brand? So yes or no question here. I would love to see what you all say. Okay, look at those numbers just going. All right, so we'll give it a little, maybe 10 more seconds and see where we land. I think we might have gotten to our final number. So it looks like 29% say yes, 32% say maybe, and 39% say no. Well, I have something to share with you all. You have a personal brand regardless if you want it or not. And I always say that is because when you come in a room, there are things people say about you, right? Whether they're good, bad, or indifferent. But that is what carries you when you move around throughout your career, networking, personally, professionally. There are things people are saying about you, right? And so what we're going to discuss is about really thinking about what are those core values that really are essential as you're thinking about your personal brand. How do you want to show up? What does that look like for you? So I'm excited for you all to kind of think about that, because I get, every time I ask this question, majority of the people say maybe or no, but I want you to know we all have one, and it carries with us when we walk in a room. So there are ways that we can work on really trying to improve that and think of how we want to show up. And so I have a great video to share with you all, whether you are an entrepreneur or if you are working in the tech space, aspiring to work in the tech space. This is something that will really help and resonate with anyone. And if you're not in tech, this is for everybody. So let's get started. Let me make sure my sound is on because that is so essential, and we'll get started.
Doing immediately is writing down your core values. And these aren't just things that you want people to receive from your content. These are not tangible things. These are feelings you want to evoke from your audience or potential audience through your brand. So these are 3 words that I chose for my brand, which are real, I want people to feel that I just keep it real. I want you to feel like I am a real person, that you can relate to me, and that I'm just like anybody else. That's why in my day in the life videos, you'll see me with no makeup. Just like how I talk off camera is how I talk to y'all on camera. I just keep it real. And I want my information to come across as genuine and real. So real is definitely one of my main values. Second top value that I have is inviting. So I want people to feel like they are welcomed, whether that's through the camera, whether I run into a subscriber at the mall like I just did a couple of days ago. She was ringing me up at the store for some clothes, and literally like she was like, oh my gosh, like I am a subscriber, I really love you. And I just always want people to feel like they are invited into my space, whether that's online or in person. And even when I conduct business, being inviting is something that I am just, I give hugs. That's me. So inviting is a huge value of mine. And then the third value, valuable. Okay. So I always want to offer value to people, even for free. Like on YouTube, I like to give value. On Instagram, I like to give value. In my stories, Instagram stories, I like to give value. In person, if people ask me questions or whatever, I'm always trying to give as much value as I can. Even in my business, I've tried to give people as much bang for their buck as they can. So I always achieve to over deliver, which is super, super important to me. So my three values: real, inviting, and valuable. So start by picking 3 words that you want your audience to feel, and you need to funnel every piece of content, every interaction through those values. That needs to be a living, breathing part of you, because your personal brand ultimately is about what is important to you and how that is important to your audience. The next thing that you should do.
Have to come off mute there. So I really like this video because it really allows you to she gives examples that she has and why she utilizes that. And often when we think about that, your personal brand, it's like, well, what words come to mind? What do I think about for myself? So what I want us to do is take a moment, we'll take a minute, and I want you all to think about three core values that you may already have that's part of your like what you do on a daily basis, or 3 that you just come up with in this moment. And if you want to share in the chat what some of those are, would love to see and share with the audience. And here are a couple of ones to take in consideration as you have this moment to think about your core values. So again, this is going to be interactive. So I do want to hear in the chat, what are some of the things that you all, when it comes to your core value? And while you're thinking about that, I'll share 1 or 2 of mine with you. So for me, one of the things for me is that I am very much big on being inclusive. I want people to feel included when they are around me. And that stemmed from me as a little girl. You meet someone that's known me since I was in elementary school, middle school, or high school, they will say that Kristen is very inclusive. So it's makes sense why I'm working in diversity, equity, and inclusion, because I know what it felt like as a little girl to feel excluded. And so my whole mission, my whole life has been to make sure if I'm in a room that someone is by themselves or someone looks like they're not engaged or someone's engaging with them, I want to make sure they feel included because I know how that feels. Another thing for me is knowledgeable. I want to be able to be seen as knowledgeable in HR and diversity, equity, and inclusion. So I always work on making sure I'm working on education and development, attending conferences so that I can continue to grow in this space, so that I can give to my audience, my peers, those that are in leadership and organizations I've worked with, that I am bringing knowledge to them in the areas that I am an expert in. So those are 2 of mine. So I would love to see, I want to see if there's any in the chat. Okay, authentic, joyful, empowering, connector, responsibility, trustworthiness. Love it. I love you all giving these examples. We have a nice amount of people here. We have 47. I want to see some more: equity, connection, transparency, loyalty, respect, knowledge, leadership, empathy. Look, it's just going. You see this chat. I love this engagement. This is awesome, everyone. Empathy, and that is essential in any area of the business. So I hope this exercise allows you to kind of really think about that. One of the things I'll challenge you to do too is often we will have these ways of how we want to be seen, but it's important to also to make sure we're delivering that, right? So if I think that I want to strive to be inclusive, but then I'm talking to those that are close to me, whether I work with them professionally or personally, they're like, well, actually, I always feel excluded when I'm around you. I'm not really demonstrating the core values that I want to do. So I think it's important to check in with those that are close to you, that you trust, to get their feedback to see, am I evoking these type of emotions? Do you see me demonstrating these skills? And really making sure that you are holding yourself accountable to making sure you're demonstrating those core values. So I challenge you all to do that as you continue to work on your personal brand. Thank you all. I appreciate you all sharing it. Now I think it's great to get some ideas. Some words some people use, you're like, oh, I might be able to use that next time. Yeah, I like the fun. Like that was a good one. I do agree. And I hope this list also helps you as you think about it. Take a screenshot, and I do that at conferences and workshops I'm at all the time. Like, oh, let me take a screenshot because I like that. So this is something you can take back to others that you work with and your friends and family as well. All right, so let's keep it moving. So, one of the things I always tell people is that the beauty of your personal brand is that you are able to really make that what you really want it to be. And the thing I love is that we're going to move into talking about LinkedIn. And that is a really good way for you to really build your personal brand. There are so many stats that Linda shared with you all that are so true about LinkedIn. And there's a big misperception sometimes too of what LinkedIn is and what LinkedIn isn't. I love having the conversation about LinkedIn because a lot of people equate it to Facebook and Instagram. They say, I don't do social media. And I always tell people it's not social media. This is a professional networking. And if you are a person that is a career person, a career woman or career man, or if you are a person that is an entrepreneur, you have to be on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a space for everyone, no matter where you are in your journey. And so I really want to make sure that you understand that this is a professional network. It's not Facebook, it's not Instagram. And the thing is, if someone Googles you, so if you all get on Google right now and Google your name, guess what the first thing that's going to come up, unless you have a really popular name, which isn't the case, so you might have to put Indianapolis, Indiana, or wherever you're living, you will see that your LinkedIn profile comes up first. When people meet you, more than likely, they go look at your LinkedIn profile or they Google you. And you get to control the narrative of what appears through making sure that your LinkedIn profile is optimized. So, LinkedIn versus resume. There is a number one thing that people think. LinkedIn, let me put everything on my resume onto LinkedIn. And LinkedIn and resumes are not twins, they are siblings. So remember, LinkedIn and resumes are not twins, they are siblings. The resume is great, but I tell people LinkedIn takes it to the next level and allows you to display yourself holistically and share the things that you're passionate about. Tell your stories and your journeys in a way that your resume doesn't allow you to. And so we'll talk about how you're able to do that. So I want to start off by telling what is LinkedIn, because there are some people here that maybe this is their first introduction to LinkedIn, and that's okay. So let's start off with a basic introduction of what LinkedIn is. So stay tuned.
If you've ever received an email that says join my network on LinkedIn, you've probably wondered, what is LinkedIn? A simple answer is that it's the world's largest professional network, helping people find and share opportunities every day. But how is it relevant to you? Managing your career is just one reason to join LinkedIn. As you develop your professional profile, you establish an authoritative resource on your experience and capabilities that lets people find you when they search the internet. In 2 minutes, you'll be up and running with the most important page on the web you'll ever have. Do you know what people find when they Google your name? With LinkedIn, you'll have more control over what appears in Google results, and having a robust profile encourages people to approach you with opportunities. Many of your contacts are already on LinkedIn, and you can reconnect just by uploading your address book. This lets you stay in touch even as your contacts change jobs and email addresses. Your reputation is summed up by the relationships you've developed over your career. LinkedIn helps you maintain these relationships authentically. In addition, when you want to make new business connections, you can find people using LinkedIn's search tool, then see who you know in common. This makes it easy to request an introduction from your trusted connections. You can also join a LinkedIn group where professionals in your field discuss issues and solve problems related to your industry. Link to your Twitter account to share tweets with your professional network, both from LinkedIn to Twitter and vice versa. And use LinkedIn's mobile application to stay current with your network wherever you are. These are just a few features that help you get the most out of LinkedIn. Whether you're working in an office or on the go, LinkedIn keeps you in touch with the people that matter to your career. And since signing up is free, LinkedIn just might be the best investment you'll ever make in your career.
All right, so we set the tone of really understanding what LinkedIn is. So I want you all to rate your LinkedIn profile. We're going to get a poll up here. Would you say that your LinkedIn is strong, average, or sis, I need help? Thank you, Cynthia, for coming. Thank you, I appreciate that. So let's see where everyone is. Give you all another couple of seconds. We'll go to 25 seconds and then we'll see if we're. All right, so it looks like we have 23% say their LinkedIn is strong, 53% say average, and 25% say, sis, I need help. So this is something that I love to see because it allows you to know that no one here is alone. So you don't feel like, wow, I'm not advanced as I would like to be, or I'm not where I'm at. You're here today and you're doing what's best, and that's investing in trying to make yourself better in this area. So that is awesome. All right. So one of the other things I always like to gauge too is LinkedIn has a big recommendation when it comes to connections. So those are people that are in your network. If you could drop in the chat if you have 500 or more connections. So only say yet, like drop yes if you have 500 or more connections. Okay. Okay. Wow, good job. So one of the things that I tell people is that it's really important to make sure that you have the basic information. So we'll talk about that on your profile before you start connecting, because there are people like on Facebook and Instagram that make fake pages. So it's important to make sure you have the basic foundation for your profile so people know that it's really you, that you have an actual profile. So LinkedIn recommends you have a minimum of 500 connections. And that sounds overwhelming at first. This like 500, that's a lot of people. But what you think about the people you've went to school with, whether from starting from high school to doing a post-secondary program, to going to a 4-year college, getting your master's, your PhD, whatever, you went to school, you've worked at different organizations, you've volunteered, those are people you should connect with. I often hear like, well, I don't know, people, I don't want to connect with my coworkers. I'm like, that's what it's for. Exactly. Drew just said connected to car and mechanic. I love it. Yes, exactly. There is a place for everyone to connect on here. Friends, family, any person you encounter. Anytime I go to a conference or a workshop, I make it a point to every person I interact with, I add them as a connection on LinkedIn. And again, this is a professional networking piece. And so that is why LinkedIn recommends you have a minimum of 500 connections so that you can really be able to network and utilize LinkedIn to the best of your ability. So one of the things people may say, well, if you don't have 500, I have to get it today. Well, the reality is LinkedIn only allows you to add like 150 a week. So make this maybe a goal for the month to get to 500, or make it a goal for the next, for this quarter, for Q2, to focus on growing your network on LinkedIn. So that is awesome. I love hearing those stories. Thank you, Drew, for sharing that. So let's talk about the top 5 must-haves for your LinkedIn profile. So one of the first things that people don't realize is you do want to have a professional photo on there. No selfies. I don't want to see any selfies on there. And no picture with a whole bunch of people in the background. This is your profile. People want to know that it's you. And another thing that a lot of people underutilize is that there is an opportunity for you to have a background photo. And we'll have a chance to look at a couple of profiles to kind of show that in display. But I love that part about the background photo because it allows you to kind of show your personality a little bit more. Whether you are very passionate about living in Indiana, you can have Indianapolis skyline as a background photo. My background photo shows diversity of different individuals because I'm passionate about diversity, equity, and inclusion. You could have, if you're a person that's working in education, if you're passionate about tech or women in tech specifically, there are photos, banners that have women in tech in there. So there's a lot of great ways for you to show who you are personality-wise just by having a background photo that brings personality to your profile. Another thing is you want to have an about me section. This allows you to tell your story and journey, right? I mentioned before that this allows you to tell people who you are and what you do. And you are able to do this holistically, whether you're a person that works 9 to 5 only, or if you're 9 to 5 and an entrepreneur like me, I can show my business and my 9 to 5 on there as well. Then you want to make sure you have your work history. This allows you to show who you are and where you've been able to work and add more connections. The more information you have on your profile allows LinkedIn to give recommendations to you based off of your actual experiences. And then skills. Skills is really important because it allows people to find you and you show up in searches based off of the skills. So not everyone on LinkedIn is looking for jobs. Most of my clients come to work with me not because they're looking for a new job opportunity, but because they really want to expand their network and their brand. And so say you're interested in joining a board or joining a committee, if you have those skills on your profile, you're going to show up in searches. But there are people looking for jobs, right? And that'll allow you to come up in searches as well when you have your skills and your work history and what you've accomplished and what you do on your profile. And then recommendations. I always say that when you're applying for a job or you're applying, someone's getting asked for referrals, it could be anyone on the phone. It could be your mom, your aunt, saying that they're the CEO of a company. But the uniqueness of having recommendations on your profile is that it's connected to someone that has a profile. You can see where they work and you can see what they do. And it really just really helps you build your credibility through having recommendations on your profile. The other thing I like to always point out too is that with LinkedIn, it goes back to allowing you to tell your story and your journey. And these are top 5 must things you need to have on your profile. So if you don't have this, definitely work on getting those things added. So those are for people that maybe are in the beginning stages that were like, sis, I need help. And we'll have a chance to look at some profiles to share that with you. And I always tell people that LinkedIn, I'm a testament of LinkedIn helping me get a job. So I work full-time as the diversity, equity, and inclusion leader at Car Global, and I oversee all D&I. But guess what? I didn't apply for the job. They found me on LinkedIn, okay? So that is one of the cool, unique things about LinkedIn. I'm a testament. LinkedIn helped me get my job. And guess what? My title didn't say, last 2 titles when I worked for organizations didn't say diversity, equity, and inclusion, but my profile screamed it. You saw it in my about section, talking about what I've done through the work that I've done in previous organizations within the community. You saw it in my skills. So you saw those things. The D&I was throughout my profile. So when my leaders searched for someone with that skill set in Indianapolis, Indiana, I popped up. So when I say that it's really important for you to make sure you're displaying the skills that you possess that maybe aren't displayed in your title that someone may not know, it allows you to really show up. And we'll have a chance to kind of dive in and look at that visually. So let's talk about some LinkedIn do's and don'ts. So when you are on LinkedIn, you definitely want to use keywords. So say you're on the job hunt and you're looking for opportunities, you want to make sure those actual job postings that you have the keywords that are listed in there. You want to make sure you have whether it's collaboration, leadership, technology, whatever those words that are screamed in those job postings you're looking for, you want that on your profile. Don't just post links without a comment on your profile as well. So as you're bringing education and awareness through postings that you may do, don't just post a link. Give some commentary around that. Similar to like Instagram and Facebook, there is an algorithm. So a lot of people don't realize that. If you notice that certain people post or keep coming up on your profile, you see them post more often, it's because they are making sure they're ensuring that they are giving content, but bringing a caption alongside to help people understand where that link's going to take them. Do use hashtags. So hashtags will help you get more visibility on LinkedIn, especially say you're selling information on technology and what's going on in tech and being a woman in tech. Use those hashtags because it'll allow other women to get inspired. And if you're an ally, you can inspire your fellow peers to get engaged in helping women move the needle. And don't be salesy. So if you are in a sales role, all of us have probably had this, your inbox full of sales. Hey, I want to talk to you about this system. That's great, but you want to build a relationship first and get to know that person before just coming off in their messages saying, hey, I think this would be good for your business, because you could be completely wrong. I get emails, messages all the time saying, hey, this product would be great for your business. I'm a small business. No, it wouldn't. So it's really important to understand you're getting to know your audience and building those relationships first. And do engage. You really want to engage with people on LinkedIn. It really allows you to really move the needle of really building your network and seen as an expert in the areas that you focus on. So let's talk a little bit about, and I want to make sure if there's any questions from anything that I cover, definitely feel free to ask. And definitely would feel free to ask. So I see there is a question. Would love to know who did your professional headshots. Okay, so I will definitely share that information. I have used Starla K. Mathis, and she is a woman-owned business as well. And so I will drop her website in the link as well. She does all of my professional photos. I always go to her to get them done. So thank you so much for that, Drew. And I will be sure to send that in the chat.
Kristen, this is
Yes.
Linda.
Yes.
And I have a question for you
Yes.
that you can answer as part of this. So what about those, we have there may be some college students or some people just entering and using LinkedIn and they can't afford to get a professional headshot. What is your recommendation to get that headshot that looks good if you're of limited means or have a small budget?
Listen, this is what I tell my clients all the time. You don't have to go get professional photos done if you don't have the time, but you need to have a photo. We have technology, as we all know, Apple phones, iPhones, and even I can't even think of, someone had a phone and it took a marvelous picture. Like it made a picture look like it was professionally done. I recommend doing this. Everyone has a blank wall somewhere near them. Go against the wall, have someone take a photo of you. Literally, like we're on a Zoom meeting, you only see the top half. Yes. Faith Blackwell is another good one. I've seen her, a lot of people utilize her recently. She's definitely a really good person to go to. So if you're looking for options, she is a good person as well. But go against that wall, pose, and bam, there you go. You have a photo. So don't overthink it. If you're like, oh man, I don't have a professional photo, that is going to be great. You can even utilize different tools to help update it to give it a little glamour shot to it. there you can go on Instagram or Facebook. They have some filters on there to help you too. But I think it's really important to make sure that you do have recent photos as well. That's something too. So that's a simple way to have a photo really quick. And I've had some clients do that and no one would never know that that wasn't a professional photo that was taken. So thank you, Linda, for asking that, because most people don't have the time or maybe their budget doesn't allow them to get a professional headshots. So that is definitely a good way. Thanks, Linda, for asking that. And then I will also drop Starla's website in there. So the other thing that LinkedIn is for, like I mentioned, is networking. Networking is really key for LinkedIn. So a lot of people are like, well, how do I go about that? What does that look like? How can I do that? So connection requests. So one of the things that you are able to build your network is you may get requests from people. I've accepted requests from people that I've never met because there are people that I want to connect with that I've never met before. So I always think of the lenses, I'm probably in their shoes too. But you do want to be cautious because there are some people that make fake pages and you're able to see if maybe they don't have any connections or there's no connection of how you guys could be connected. So they're not in your industry. You don't have any similarities. You can definitely kind of see if this is someone that you truly want to connect with. That's how you can filter it out. But definitely connect. You should be friends on connections and network with all the people that you work with should be part of your connections. That is really essential. And then there's a section to help people like, well, how do I grow it? I don't want to connect my phone book to it. If you go to your profile, if you go to LinkedIn, there's a at the very top, it says network. When you click on there, you continue to scroll down. LinkedIn gives you recommendations to people to connect with. So whether that's someone that they'll say you went to school with, that maybe you worked with, you're in the same city, you have similar interests, LinkedIn makes it easy for you by giving you recommendations for people to connect with. As you continue to build more people in your network, LinkedIn is going to continue to recommend more people based off of their connections as well. So I always recommend periodically going to check that out because people are joining LinkedIn daily at crazy numbers. So there may be someone that you may not know wasn't on LinkedIn that now you can connect with. And then the other thing is attending LinkedIn events. How many people have attended a LinkedIn event before? If you have, please share, maybe share the name of a LinkedIn event you attended. I recently went to one that was really exciting. It was talking about recruiting diverse talent. And it was free. So a lot of the LinkedIn events, so it's literally attending a conference via LinkedIn. Anyone had the opportunity of doing that, please drop it in the chat if you have. If not, put that on your list to make sure you get engaged with sometime in the next couple of months. Okay, some people have done LinkedIn Learning, but not an event. Okay, so training, yeah, so we'll talk a little bit too. That's another way for you to grow your skill set is utilizing LinkedIn Learning. But LinkedIn events are a little different. So it sounds like something that people maybe not be aware of, but yes, there are lots of events and some people now are not necessarily LinkedIn hosting the event, but maybe they may have an event and decide to do it on LinkedIn because they can reach a broader group of people and utilize them as a resource. So make sure you check out some LinkedIn events. You can search on the bar and see what events are coming up, and majority of them are free. So it's a great way for you to continue to move the needle. Okay, looks like there is a hand raised. Can someone help me with that? I don't know. Do I just click on the hand and allow them to speak?
I just did. Amy, you should be able to talk now if you have a question.
Okay, no worries.
I'll
Listen,
go
we're
here.
all learning the new features. I didn't even realize that you could do that. So thank you for helping me with that. So also, since LinkedIn training did come up, I want to let you all know a little gem. So if you have a library card, which you can get for free, you can actually take LinkedIn learning courses for free. Yes, for free. So instead of paying that monthly fee of, I think, $30 a month, you could do it for free. So you just go to the library. If you go on their website, they give you the tool, which is they use so that you can sign up. You do the sign up one time and then it's on your profile going forward. They took it away like in the middle of the pandemic, but they added it back recently. I was so excited because the good thing about LinkedIn Learning, say you want to work on project management, say you want to be better at being more inclusive in the workplace and want to learn more about diversity and inclusion, or you want to work on being more empathetic. LinkedIn has courses for everything you can think of. And so this is one way you can continue to work on yourself and continue to grow. So definitely check out LinkedIn Learning. And again, yes, so it looks like Drew said Ivy Tech students have access to LinkedIn Learning for free through their Ivy Tech account. See? So look at that. So if you're an Ivy Tech student, if you are just have a library card, you're able to do it for free as well. So thank you for sharing that, Drew. Drew, you have a lot of great resources. I love it. Thank you for your engagement. I really appreciate that. All right. So let's keep the ball rolling. So one of the things that is new to LinkedIn is LinkedIn Creator. So let me know in the chat if you are familiar with LinkedIn Creator. Or if you have LinkedIn Creator. So say yes, and okay, good. Good job, okay. Okay, yes, so it looks like some people. So LinkedIn Creator, and I'm gonna show you, so as you can see on my screen, there you'll be able to tell the difference between if someone has a creator account versus them having just a regular LinkedIn account. Creator accounts are really a great way. LinkedIn really introduced this last year. It's a really good tool that a lot of people are familiar with and are like, well, I don't know what it means. How do I utilize it? What does it mean for me? How can I be able to utilize it to my best ability? So this is a good tool for those that are regularly sharing content in your professional community, or you demonstrate an expertise. If you want to ignite conversations with the audience and just want to really build yourself as an expert in the area that you may focus on. So LinkedIn Creator, I recommend that in order to cut on your LinkedIn Creator, I recommend that you have a minimum of the requirement of having 500 connections. And the reason why I say that is because you want to make sure that you have built an audience to be able to engage. So on my profile here, you see it has my name, but then you see here it says, talks about HR, equity, human resources, personal branding, and diversity and inclusion. So with the creator account, it allows me to come up in searches for people that are following these hashtags. And it allows me to be seen as a subject matter expert through the content that I post through these areas. And you're able to dictate what you want that to look like. So for instance, you can have women in high tech or women in technology, STEM, you could have technology, whatever that may look like. So this allows you to really be seen as an expert and a person that is really bringing content. If you don't post on a regular basis, I don't recommend having a creator content, which is fine. Like I said, everyone has a place on LinkedIn. But with the creator account, it allows you to really be able to put yourself out there in a way so that you can reach a broader audience. And again, showing that you are a professional, an expert in certain areas. And so the one thing that they do too, have shown that if you do use LinkedIn Creator, that 50% of your members' follows come from your profile views. So this allows you to get more views of your profile, which means that you're going to grow more people in your audience. If you notice on LinkedIn, when you go to add someone as a connection, it'll say follow for some people and it'll say connect for others. So if someone has a creator account, it has you follow them versus connect with them. And so I have mixed thoughts on that because I want to connect with people that follow me too. So I always will go connect with someone, follow someone, but then also connect with them as well on there. The other thing is it allows you to establish your voice. So I want to be seen as an expert in those areas. And that allows me to establish my voice utilizing the creator realm to do that. And also it allows you to become eligible too for discovery results. So downstream, so helping like people discover you. So if someone's looking for someone that talks about HR, you're going to come up as somebody as a recommendation, or someone looking for someone that talks about equity. Like I talked about following hashtags, this allows you to really build a broader audience and reach more people through having a creator account. So those people that said that they were strong, this may be something you really want to look into doing. Yes, Amy, that's why it says follow versus connect, because they literally are people that they're saying follow. If you notice too, like some people that, I'm not a celebrity, but I'm a content expert in these areas. But a lot of the people that you may follow that may be like Oprah, or you may see Brene Brown, these are some of my favorites women, you may follow them versus be able to connect with them. But if you notice that their content continues to come up on your profile as when you see recent comments or recent content or top content, it's because they are showing that they have information that they want to show, and you show that you want to keep learning about what they're doing. So yes, a lot of people are like, why does it say follow versus connect? So that's why. But I get that that's what they're trying to move people in direction of, but I feel like you should be able to connect and follow, which you can, but you just have to take an extra step to do that. And we'll have a chance to look at that. Any questions about the using the creator account? I'll show you how you cut it on your profile if you don't have it on already. Okay, but I definitely wanted to point this out because like I said, this is a new feature that's recently being added. And then also if you have a creator account, LinkedIn sends you tips and tricks and stuff as well. And they feature some creators sometimes depending on the topic. That may be something that's really a popular or an important topic at the time. I'm sure that they're going to be doing some features on people that speak on mental wellness with that coming up recently. Thank you, Anne Marie, for coming on. Thank you so much. Feel free to also connect with me. Please, everyone that's here, connect with me on LinkedIn. Would love to continue to grow with you all. So thanks, Anne Marie. All right. So Linda did share that I do have an opportunity for 2 people to get real-time feedback on their LinkedIn from me. Okay. And so it allows, and yes, drop your LinkedIn profiles in here so you can build some connections in here. Drop the link to your profile so people can connect with you on here. You all have an interest of STEM, so definitely make sure you're connected with everyone that's on here right now. All right, so if you would like real-time feedback, do me a favor and put it in the Q&A, since we're dropping chat links here for people to connect with. If you could drop it in the Q&A, if you want to get real-time feedback, the first 2 people that do it in the Q&A will get real-time feedback. Okay, so it looks like I have 2, Amy and Caroline. So I will do it for them. Let's click on Amy. Okay. Yeah, see, this is a way to network. Even though we're not in person, you can still connect virtually with some people here. Love it. I love it. I love it. All right, Amy. Thank you so much for volunteering to get real-time feedback. As you see, Amy has a photo. Amy, can we bring Amy off of, can Amy come off of mute so I can kind of engage with her? Are we able to let Amy come off of mute?
Yes.
Thank you for that. So Amy, I love that you have a photo in the background. I want you to kind of tell the audience why you just selected the photo that you have.
With my new company, Athena Consultants, we went out and got headshots.
Yes, awesome. Well, the background photo, so this blue.
Oh, why I did that?
Yes.
I did that back when I did primarily compliance work.
Okay.
I just have always spent a lot of time with IT, and I thought that really gave the presence of IT versus compliance that I've always done.
Understandable. Love it. And you may decide now that you might want to switch it up now, right? With your new organization that you're part of. But I love that you had a background photo, and kind of this allows people to ask, oh, so tell me a little bit more about your background photo. What does that mean for you? So as you can see, Amy does have over 500 connections. So kudos to you with that. Great job. I would recommend beefing up your about section. This is what LinkedIn normally does. If you hit, they may give you recommendations based off your experience. But Amy, it'll allow people to understand who you are, what you do, and what you bring to the table. I think that would really help just beefing that up a little, of adding, like I said, in some core skills. So like, what are some key things that you focus on in your role as the Vice President of Operations? And really talking a little bit about who you are and what your experience has been. So I do like that it says that you've had a history of working in these industries, which maybe is accurate or maybe not accurate because LinkedIn kind of pulls it. I think that's a good portion to have on your profile, but just giving a little more detail. And one thing people don't realize is that your LinkedIn should be in first person. That's another common mistake I see as well. Does that kind of help with the about section, kind of get some feedback there?
Absolutely. Thank you.
No problem. Love that she has her experience on here. You can kind of see her journey. So she has her work history there. She has her education as well. So you kind of see where she's been able to further her education. Certifications. This is an area too that's often underused. So anytime you get any type of certifications, licenses, be sure to add that to your profile. Good job doing that. Also, if you complete any training via LinkedIn, you will be able to, it'll pop up on here too. So it'll show you that as well. So you can see she has her certification. So then here, one thing I'll tell you too, Amy, and this is what I've had to do as I transition from doing only specifically HR, but making sure that the skills that are listed here, normally these are the skills we had in the very beginning when we started our profile. So making sure that these are the skills that you still want on your profile, and adding any that are not currently in existence that you're wanting to be known for or utilizing. This is something I think a lot of people forget about, because again, when you first join, you just add some, and sometimes people don't even have any, but they allow you to add up to 50 skills. And what this does, it helps you come up in searches. Like I said, even if you're not looking for a job, but if you're looking for to join committees or looking at boards, it allows you to really kind of show up in those type of skills that are needed for the positions you may be interested in. So good job. She does have a recommendation. I do recommend not getting a whole bunch of recommendations at once. I recommend getting 1 to 2 a quarter because as you can see the date. So you want to make sure that allows, so even if you have 1 to 2 a year, that's still good. So I do recommend maybe getting a recommendation from a client, previous leader, or a place you volunteered with in the past. So I hope that was helpful.
Yes, thank you very much.
No problem, no problem. And make sure I connect with you now. See? All right, so then we have Carolina. Carolina, let's get you pulled up. All right, thank you. If we could be able to let Carolina come off of mute. So as you can see here in her header, one of the things people are moving to headers too is, we'll have a chance to look at it. You can have your title, or you can also utilize focusing on the key areas you want to be known for. So graduate research assistant. When I look at this photo, I think of research assistant, like being a researcher. So I definitely feel like that aligns with exactly what you have in your header. So is that kind of give a little detail on your background photo?
Yeah, so I am a chemist, so I just wanted to
yeah.
translate that.
Yes, I love that. Look, we have a chemist. Listen, love the diversity of a vice president of operations, and we have a chemist. Love to see it. So love that you have in your about section. Great job of having who you are, telling a little bit about some of the things you're engaged with. One thing I said I would recommend doing is maybe adding a couple like core skills, so that'll help you come up in searches. And as people are looking for people maybe to work on or do some research, or they're looking for a chemist, or maybe even people that are looking for mentors, it'll allow you to come up in some of those searches. But I love that you do have it in first person, and that you do have some context of people getting to know you and telling your story the way you would like it to be told. So good job on that.
Thank you.
Let's scroll on down. You see her work history. You see some of her experiences. You see her education. Okay, so one of the opportunities you have is skills, right? I saw that you had DEI. You talked about some of the work you did in your about section. You want to make sure you include that here. And this is a great way to show your soft and hard skills, right? And allow people to really help them understand what are some of the things you are specialized in. So I recommend kind of working on that area.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. And look, she has publications. This is another thing people don't realize. This is why LinkedIn allows you to show yourself holistically. You see, she has publications. So if someone may be looking for someone to maybe write or kind of give some thought leadership on some areas, they can see that she has experience in that. So great job. She has her honors and awards. She shows her languages that she's proficient in. So you see here how this allows you to really show who you are compared to your resume, right? It doesn't limit you. It really allows people to really get to know you in a way that you may have not been able to before. So great job. Great job.
Thank you so much.
I just recommend doing those small things. So I have to bring up Linda Calvin's, because listen, Linda is amazing on LinkedIn. I am definitely a big fan of her because Linda has really been able to demonstrate herself holistically. She will do videos in her car. She will show, where places she's speaking, like literally, you really get to know her. So when I talked about people utilizing their header to focus on the things they want to be known for, Linda has done that here. So she's a tech executive passionate about equity. You know that she's a board member. You see that she has Six Sigma Racial Equity Initiative. She's a speaker, mentor. This area helps you show up in searches as well when you have the key things you want to be known for. As you see here, she does have a creator account, and she speaks cyber, diversity, education, computer science, and diversity in tech. And this can always change and evolve. So good job of doing that, Linda. The other thing here is another area I want to show you is the featured section. This allows you to show when you've been featured in news articles, if you've been featured, if you have a website, so say you have a business, this is a good way to get people to be able to click on those and they get to learn more of you. And you can put it in the order of importance that you want people to see as well. So it's a really good way, again, to show yourself as an expert and show you holistically. As you can see, she's very good at engaging with the audience. Like you see, she recently has had activity and engaging with others. You see her about section, you're able to really get to know who she is and what she's been able to accomplish. You see her experience, you see volunteering. So that's another thing. If you volunteer in any capacity, definitely add that. I have employee resource groups at CAR, and so I had them add, if you are a member or if you are a leader, you can add that to your profile. And the cool thing, it connects it with an organization that you're doing that with. So it really allows you to show yourself holistically. You see her licensing, you see her skills, you see she's had recommendations, projects. Look, this really allows you to get to know Linda Calvin. So when you Google her and you want to learn more about her, you're truly going to get that. So great job, Linda. And this is, as you're working on your profile, I tell people to look at someone that has done it really well and take some of those tips. Nothing is new. Everything's been done before. So it's a great way to really kind of enhance your profile that way. So I talked about LinkedIn Learning. Here is LinkedIn Learning right here. And like I said, before you set up that account, first go to your public library or Ivy Tech if you're a student, and make sure you click there to get set up first. Okay, looks like questions. What would be a good rule of thumb to appropriate number of skills to display? So I will say that when it comes to skills to display, it's not about necessarily having too many. I would say at least have a minimum of 20 skills there. Because if you think about it, 20, 25, so that's half of what the most you can have. So I recommend having at least 25. And then really, it's not even about the number. It's really about what skills are on there. That's what it really boils down to. Because if you're looking for a job, for instance, you want to make sure you have those skills displayed on your profile in real time so that people can actually see that you have that skill set to match that opportunity. How many times have you applied for a job and they dinged you automatically? Often it's because the keywords that were needed for that role wasn't reflected on your LinkedIn or wasn't reflected on your resume. So that's really what's important. That was a very good question, Amy. Okay. So Lauren, the endorsements do help build credibility because it's saying that those individuals are saying, hey, he or she does have that skill set. So it does help with building credibility. So if you see, for instance, let's see, let me go. Linda has 31 people that say that she's good at strategy, right? And then she has 30 people on social media. So it does help build credibility, but it doesn't enable you to come up in searches, but it does help build credibility on your profile because it's saying that people maybe have worked with you and they can definitely see that. LinkedIn at first, when those endorsements first came out, you remember getting like all these emails like endorse so-and-so for this skill, endorse that. So I think they realized, let's just naturally let this happen instead of forcing it to happen. But I always do this when I work with someone on a project or I work with someone in any capacity, I'll go endorse them on their LinkedIn for maybe something that I gained with them because I know that I had that experience and I think it's important for others to know it as well. So I hope that answered your question. All right. So let's see here. I also wanted to show you on your profile where you can see, one of the things I'll tell you too is that some of the things we talked about, you may work on updating your profile. And when you look at my numbers are going to be really high. I am definitely a guru when it comes to LinkedIn. But what I recommend doing is looking to see at your analytics after you've done some updates in the next 2 weeks. You will see that your numbers will start to grow in these areas, because you have really taken the time to make sure you've had the foundation for your profile if you didn't have it already, or also develop your profile so that it's optimized. So one of the things I want to share this for those that may be on the journey of looking for internships, looking to transition into industry, or just looking for a job, or want to know for future because we stay ready so we don't have to get ready. This is a good way to see if your profile is coming up in searches the way you want it to. So some people have this and some people don't. I'm not sure what qualifies for you to be able to see why you came up in a search. But this were recently in the last 2 weeks, someone was looking for someone with an MBA and a recruiter, and I came up in their searches. I'm able to see the companies that were searching for my skills that I came up in searches for, okay? I'm also able to see if you have 500 connections, that's other things. Some of this is limited. If you don't have the minimum connections that they recommend, especially at least 200, you're limited on coming up in people's searches. You're limited on seeing some things as well. So that's another reason why you want to make sure you have as many connections and that your profile is optimized. But here you're able to see what those people do. So if I am on a job search, I want to make sure that the people are recruiters, they're in HR in some capacity, or they're a hiring manager, or they have a title of the type of role I'm looking for. If I notice that this isn't happening, maybe I need to do some updating of my profile to make sure that it's displayed that way. So that is one way for you to do that as well. Okay. And then again, it'll let you know, again, you'll see, it tells you the date. So after you've updated, check back in 2 weeks to see if you see some changes there. Okay. One of the things too, looks like you have some more questions here. So adding the skill to skill section on LinkedIn, does that help you come up in searches for that skill? No, sorry, Drew. It does help you come up in skill. So the skill section, adding skills to your profile helps you appear in searches. Sorry if you heard me wrong, but yes, it does help you come up in searches. So that's why it's essential to make sure you have the skills you want to come up in searches on, and that are the keywords that maybe a recruiter or hiring manager is looking for the role you're applying for. I hope that helps. Okay. If you have two very different careers, for me, I'm in education, but also I'm a writer of women's fiction. Should I have two LinkedIn profiles or combine them into one? So Caroline, I recommend having one profile and showing yourself more holistically. So you could actually, if you're a writer of women's fiction, you could have publications on your profile, some of those books that you've written or articles you've written. You could also add that to your featured section. So in your about section, you can say, I am working in education, but also I am a person that focuses on women's fiction. Here's how you can learn more about some of the books or articles that I've written. If you look at my section on my profile, I combine the two of working as a DEI leader as well as having my own business. Another thing is, if you have a business for being a writer, like say you have your own company, you can actually create a company page to help attract people in that way as well. Okay, and I'll go back. Somebody asked, and I'll answer the question, Mike, in a second. Somebody asked, how do you see your analytics? So if you go to click on view profile, you scroll down, it's right under suggested for you, or under this section. So analytics, and you only see that, no one else does. Denise, I hope that helps. Okay, Mike, for us getting more mature in our career, how far back should your list of positions go on LinkedIn? Good question, Mike. So for everyone, I recommend not going back more than 15 years. That's for your resume, and that is for your LinkedIn as well. So, and everyone, can you please put your questions in the Q&A, please, so that I can make sure I don't miss them. So if you put them in the Q&A, that makes it easier for me to make sure I stay in line and answer those questions. But yeah, Mike, that's what I recommend. Don't go back more than 15 years on your LinkedIn and your resume. And that's for everyone. I have that same challenge too on my resume and my LinkedIn. I recently helped a client with that as well. They went back to the actually 90s. And so we had to update it so that it reflected the most current work experience that they've had. All right, let's see here. Answer those. Let's see if there's any more.
Kristen, I can't submit questions via the Q&A, but
Okay.
here are a couple.
Okay.
So what do you recommend as it relates to connection requests? So
Yeah.
there are two, what I notice is there are usually two different kinds. You can click on and say connect, and then sometimes it'll say you have to have an email, which tells me that person has set their profile up to where you have to have an email to engage with them. If you don't have their email, you have to follow. But what is your recommendation when you want to connect with someone? As far as adding a note, what should you, number one, use a note, and number two, what should you say?
Yes. So one of the things I often tell people, this will help you get a better chance of someone connecting with you if you're connecting with someone that you do not know or have no connections with. So I always say it's good to start off by doing an introduction of who you are. So for instance, if I was sending Linda an email. So I actually saw Linda. My company was part of awards. We were up for an award, and she was part of the interviewing panel, and I was so intrigued by her. So I sent her a message on LinkedIn, and I would say, "Hi, Linda. My name is Kristen Lampkin. I recently met you. I recently saw you at a panel for an award ceremony, and I would love to learn more about what you've been doing in the technology space. I really want to grow in this area." So literally keep it brief, give a compliment, and then that's a good way to connect. So literally tell who you are, why you want to connect, and that makes it easy. Sometimes you want to connect with people and you just want to learn more from the content that they're posting. That's a really good way of going about it. So keep it simple, but also give a slight compliment and tell why you want to connect with them and how you found them. And if you, yes, go ahead.
The other question is, do you have a rule of thumb as it relates to responding to messages or requests that you get in your inbox?
Yes. So I do think it's really important to read an email, but I do understand, we talk about the salesy, right? A lot of people that maybe are in HR or in a space of where you're influenced and they see that, you may get messages from people that are just sending a generic email to everyone, right? That says, here, you should use this technology. This will help you with the needle. So you know that they sent that to everyone. You don't owe them a response because you know it wasn't authentically sent to you. It was just, let me send this out to every single person that I see in that message. So I would recommend that you don't have to respond to that. But I do recommend that you do respond to people if they take the time to send you a note and say, thank you for connecting with me, or thank you for taking the time to read an article that I've read, if that's a good way to really kind of build your network and build with people, because you never know who knows who. So always keep that in mind. Whether, when you're leaving a job, joining a job, even if you had a bad experience, you want to make sure you keep that in perspective, that you never know when you may need that person or they may need you in the future. So keep that perspective if someone wants to connect with you and maybe they're newer in their career and they're just trying to really build. And also if you're someone that is looking for opportunities to connect with others. Thank you, Jennifer.
And
thanks, Jennifer.
Kristen, finally, I have one more question, and then there's someone has submitted one in the chat. Okay. So can you share about the banners? Banners on your profile picture and what to use and what not to use?
Yes, for sure. So one of the things I always recommend is having a banner, because LinkedIn gives you a basic banner normally, right? But what this does is allows you to kind of really display yourself. So always want to make sure that the photo is clear. Always want to make sure that the photo is clear and that it's in landscape. So I have seen people that have their company logo. I just helped a client with this recently, and it took up the whole thing and it wasn't clear. So LinkedIn has, if you Google LinkedIn banners, there'll be a couple that come up and give recommendation. But a really good tool is Canva. I always highly recommend Canva. Canva actually will help you create your own banner. Like you could create a banner similar to how Linda has her signature banner. You could easily do that. And they have free ones there for you to utilize. So you don't even have to pay for Canva, C-A-N-V-A, to utilize that resource, but they have free banners in there that you can utilize. So the ones I recommend is a skyline of your city. It could be something you're passionate, a cause, or something that is related to your industry. So those are things that you can do for a background photo, but you want to make sure it's in landscape.
And Kristen, I mean the banner like open to work or
that banner. Okay,
yes.
Okay. Yeah, so let's talk about that. So right now you see here, it says here open to. What that does is say you're looking for a job or you are hiring or you're providing services, you can add this to your profile. So find a new job. So say you are looking for a new job. The cool thing about LinkedIn, this helps you to come up in searches even more. You can list job titles, but let's talk about this area right here. Let's see here. let's see here. Hold on one second, sorry. Let's go back to, okay. Go to find a new job. Okay, so then if you click on here, you see how it says all LinkedIn members are recruiters only. LinkedIn gives you the option, right? But what I tell people, do not do open to work because biases show up. You could be top talent and looking for an opportunity, but it may look desperate to people that you say open to work, and biases show up. I've talked to several recruiters that say that often they won't engage with someone that has open to work. So I want to help you out. So if you are looking for opportunities, do recruiters only. And if you're looking for a job and you're like worried about your company knowing, this is only going to come up for recruiters that are looking for your skills. So again, do not do open to work, but click recruiters only. If you have open to work right now, change it to recruiters only. Thank you for that. That was a really good question. Do you recommend LinkedIn Premium, and what are the benefits versus account or the creator account? So LinkedIn Premium is definitely valuable if you are looking for a job search. Use the free 30 days. I don't recommend using it longer than 30 days. LinkedIn Premium allows you to see who's viewing your profile. So everyone that views, you'll be able to see. Also, if you apply for a job via LinkedIn, it will tell you that you got dinged a no without you, so that you know that. Because behind the scenes, you're able to see that. So if you're on the job search, there's lots of value of having premium account. But I don't see the value in it if you're not looking for a job personally. Because again, you can get LinkedIn Learning for free through the library, and everything else that you can do, you're able to do that for free. So Lauren's question is, can you connect with anyone that asks to connect to grow your audience? I kind of answered that earlier. I connect with people if they're in HR, if they're working in D&I, and I may not know them, I'll still connect with them because there's still value, because I can learn from them, and maybe there's somebody I should know. But I do recommend being cautious. It's like for instance, if you look at my network right now, you'll see that I have some people that I'm going to connect with and accept, but then there are going to be some people that are like trying to sell to me. And so that's why I have 107 people waiting, because a lot of those people are salespeople. So to give some context there. I saw there was a really cool, it was like a deep, an in-depth question in the chat. Let me go back to that.
Kristen, while you're looking that up, I was just going to offer, since you highlighted me, what I was going to offer is as far as requests and connection requests, many times I can tell by their title, especially if we don't have a lot of common people in connection, and by their title, why they want to connect with me. And so sometimes, especially if it's a, hey, I wanted to connect with you because do you know cybersecurity keeps people up at night? And does your team do this? Right? So sometimes, not always, because I was getting a lot of them, but sometimes I'll respond and say, I'm sorry, this is not my area that I work, I don't work in this area. This is not something that I engage in my current role, and I am not a lead for you. So sometimes I'll just send that message back and they'll go, okay. And then they don't want a connection request. But there have been other times where I'm like, if you want to connect with me just to have a conversation about tech equity or redesigning talent pipelines or hiring students, when I was at Ivy Tech, or hiring students from Ivy Tech, I'm happy to speak with you. And about 1 out of 20, they would go, okay, I still want to connect with you. So sometimes that's a good way. And depending on how many of those sales messages you get, you won't always have time to respond to each and every one. But I try to respond and say, hey, I'm not your lead here. And normally what you'll get back is, oh, okay, thank you. And then you don't have to do the connection unless they really want you to.
Yep, that's a good point. That's a good call out, Linda. I appreciate you sharing that. And I think one of the things too, also, say you're a student. So I'm sure there's some students on here that are someone anonymously shared something, but it is true that it's important to follow the schools of interest as well that you're interested in, and then maybe schools that are popular in the industry you're looking for, because then you could possibly show up in searches if they search for that specific school. So say, for instance, say Princeton is one of the schools that, one of the organizations that I am interested in working for. No, I know they really heavily recruit at Princeton. So I would follow Princeton's page, as well as if you look at the very bottom of a profile, let's see here, I'm gonna show you the very bottom of a profile. Let's see here. If you go to interest, so here, so under here, so you see how influencers, companies, groups, and schools, definitely following those schools will help you to come up in searches, possibly if that company is looking for people that are somewhat connected to that school. So that is true. Yes, that's a good question. Drew said she will also ask, hey, what made you connect with me? If they respond and you accept the request. I think that's a really good way too to kind of move the needle as well. Good job there, Drew. That's a really good recommendation. So let me go back because I want to make sure that I know we're close on time, and I like to go and keep it going authentically and making sure I answer your questions. So we kind of move in Q&A. But there's some takeaways I want to have for you also. We talked about the connections piece. So I want to recommend that you ask someone in your connection in the next month for a virtual coffee, tea, or water catch up. I love doing this. And I also will say like 15 minutes because people will commit easier than saying 30 minutes to an hour because people can make 15 minutes. They may have a break within their day. So I'll say, hey, can I have 15 minutes for us to catch up, whether that's someone that I want to connect with or someone that I haven't talked to in a while. But that allows you again to continue to build in this virtual world that we're in now and continue to network in a way to build connections. So asking someone for a virtual coffee, tea, or water catch up is a really good way to do that. And then one of the things, LinkedIn can be overwhelming. I've heard lots of people say that. I recommend evaluating your LinkedIn once a quarter. And the reason for that, you don't have to evaluate it every day, every week. Once a quarter, because if you think about it, we normally accomplish things by a quarter, right? When you think about the things you've done at work, if you've joined an organization, if you've made impact in a way, it's normally once a quarter that maybe you've done that. So you can do that for your LinkedIn. And remember, your resume and LinkedIn are not twins. One of the things that people, and also for resume, this is a quick tip, you don't need a picture on your resume unless you are looking to be a model or an actor. So I recommend utilizing the space on your resume for truly the content that's going to help them. Because what you can do, instead of having addresses on our resumes now, we can put a link to our LinkedIn. So take your LinkedIn link, put that on your profile, on your resume so that you're able to get people to go learn more about you holistically through your LinkedIn. So please definitely, go ahead.
Another question. Should you, and it didn't come in through the Q&A. Okay. Should you post your resume on your LinkedIn profile?
So I will show you all in a second where to properly post your resume. So there's a lot of confusion on where it goes, and I'm going to show you where you should properly post it. Okay. So I'll take you back to that in a second. Definitely, please connect with me. You can go subscribe to my website. I send out a quarterly newsletter to my audience. I also always post tips and tricks on my page for HR Guru LLC, and that's on Facebook and on Instagram. And then we're going to open up for Q&A. And I also wanted to let you all know I do have an ebook. It's called 7-Day LinkedIn Challenge. I know there were like 25 of you that said, sis, you need help. So what I'm doing special for women in high tech is that I am giving you 50% off of my ebook with the code WHT. And you have all year to do that. So I always tell people, invest in yourself, invest in your development. And I want to help you do that at a discounted rate. So if you go on my website and you click on the 7-Day LinkedIn Challenge or even the resume ebook, you'll be able to use the code WHT and you will get 50% off. So that is my gift to you all as well. So let me go back to your question. Let's see here. Let's go back to LinkedIn, and you asked about your resume. So your resume belongs here. So you'll go to jobs on your profile. You'll go to application settings, upload your resume here. And I recommend doing it in a PDF. The reason why I say PDF is because Word, as we know, the doc loses format. PDF will always keep it. So again, you're going to go to job, application settings, upload resume. You'll upload it there.
That is perfect, Kristen, because I have seen many people take pictures of their resume and post the image because they didn't know where it went. So I'm so glad you were able to share that with us.
No problem. And also one of the things I do want to touch on really quick is posting on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is a really good way for you to engage and show, like, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. One of the people I follow on LinkedIn is Johnny C. Taylor Jr. He is the CEO of Sherm. And so in my industry, he's like the GOAT, right? But he literally has to have a company paying to kind of do his posting because he posts like 4 times a day and posts frequently. So, and it's really good for anyone to follow him because he posts a lot about workforce, engaging your workforce, things to do. So here I may like say there's a post he has and I really like that post. I could easily share his post and add my perspective to it. And that's a simple post. That's an easy way to engage. If you get an article, like especially in like STEM or tech, and you feel like others could benefit from it, share it on there. And I remember someone said that they were also a writer for women fiction. Share your book on there, share articles that you were, because guess what? There are people on LinkedIn that like reading fiction, women fiction, right? I tell people all the time, if you have a business, there's a place for it on LinkedIn. One of my friends is a mommy blogger. And she was like, well, do people really care about what I'm going to blog about? I said, there are parents on LinkedIn. Yes, tell us what to do for Teachers Appreciation Week. Tell us of ways we can be more engaged. There are people that are going to want to know those tips. So always know that everyone has a place on LinkedIn. Let's see here. Yes, thank you so much for dropping that in there. Thank you so much.
And Kristen, I know we're just have 1 minute before the end, but I wanted to get your opinion on this. There are some, and I know a couple of people who are dear to me that don't have LinkedIn profile pictures. So what? I know one person that just uses kind of a graphic because it's from their business, which I get that. I get if it's a business, right? But what are your thoughts about a LinkedIn profile picture? I had one friend say once, well, I'm a nonconformist, so that's why I don't put a picture on my LinkedIn profile. And I was like, yeah, I don't really like that. But what are your thoughts?
I think it's important to have the LinkedIn profile, because it allows people to know that this is a real profile, right? Because again, I mentioned that people make fake profiles on LinkedIn, and it allows people to know who you are. So if someone's met you, they know what you look like. Like, this is the reality of it, right? They know what you look like. So it really allows people to see who you are and allow them to connect visually who the person is. And it also helps people just honestly be able to attract more diverse talent too. So it allows people to be able to see it from that lens as well. But I get it. You have to do what's best for you as an individual, but I do recommend having a photo because it makes your picture, it makes it that they know that it's a real profile. Often people's perception, if it's not a photo, that it's not a real profile. And I've seen people, like one of my mentors did not have a picture. She had her logo. And then she really got comfortable with, I want people to know who I am. This is who I am. And now she has her photo. I was able to influence her to do that. Cause I was like, people don't know this is really you. Like they may not know that. Also, from a connection standpoint, it allows you to build your network better because someone may not know your name, but they remember meeting you somewhere as well. So.
Thank you so much, Kristen. This has been awesome. And I actually was in looking, I hope everyone pulled their profile up, and I was in making changes. So please, number one, connect with Kristen. Connect with her.
Connect with me. Please connect with me. And also, if you have any questions or anything like that, or if you work on your profile, send me a message and say, check out my profile, I've updated it. You can even send like on Instagram, you can say I updated my profile after talking with HR Guru. I would love that. Love to hear about how things are changing and how people are really engaging on LinkedIn. And I really appreciate the opportunity today to speak with you all.
Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Kristen. This was so awesome. And I made a comment yesterday in a meeting that we should just do this annually so everyone can have the benefit of this education. Go to her website, reach out if you have any additional questions. We will be posting this video on our YouTube chat so you can share with your colleagues or even into your affinity groups at work. So thank you so much. Have a great rest of your week, everyone. Keep connecting, keep LinkedIning, and have a great day.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.